which states that abortion is okay to remove an ectopic pregnancy. And can you explain to me why that exception is in there?
Thank you for the question. This is language I didn't focus on too much. Oh, it's what abortion does not include. I cannot say why that particular language is in here, but to me it would be common sense to put that language in here.
Senator Hamilton, you're recognized for a follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. President. But a child who is, in fact, living out part of his or her early life as the unfortunate circumstance of being an ectopic pregnancy is, in fact, still a unique human being with its own DNA. And I wonder, I guess I just don't understand why we've created an exception where we allow those children to be murdered, but not the others.
There's Warren Hamilton of Oklahoma. I want you guys to understand what he said. An ectopic pregnancy is an early stage of a person's life, and why should they be snuffed out from their ectopic pregnancy? I don't get it. Again, he's arguing that this bill didn't go far enough. Let's see what this bill has. Republican House legislators passed House Bill 4327 that would effectively ban most abortions by allowing private citizens to sue anyone who performs an abortion or aids or abets someone who pursues that procedure. However, HB 4327 would block nearly all abortions because it starts immediately after conception, whereas the Texas law prohibits most abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which typically occurs around 6 weeks into a pregnancy. So in other words, Oklahoma's going further than Texas, which enough people were outraged by in the first place. But Warren Hamilton here, is that his name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Warren Hamilton is not happy about that because we're snuffing out ectopic pregnancies. That's weird. Let's jump down the graphic for you guys. What's an ectopic pregnancy? Because Warren Hamilton's dumbass doesn't know. Pregnancy begins with a fertilized egg. Normally, the fertilized egg attaches to the lining of the uterus. An ectopic pregnancy occurs when a fertilized egg implants and grows outside the main cavity of the uterus. And you know what happens? An ectopic pregnancy can't proceed normally. I'll say it again. An ectopic pregnancy cannot proceed normally. The fertilized egg cannot survive. And the growing tissue may cause life-threatening bleeding if left untreated. You know which life? That person that's here, that mother. Continuing, an ectopic pregnancy can cause your fallopian tube to burst open. Without treatment, the ruptured tube can lead to life-threatening bleeding. Again, not from that pile of cells that has embedded itself in tubes, but for that human, that woman that you don't like, that you wish was dead because she messed around and had an ectopic pregnancy and is trying to end this early stage of life. He doesn't get it, he says, Francesca. You know why he doesn't get it? Because Warren Hamilton is a dumbass. We'll leave it there. I had other terms.
Yeah, and that is a slippery slope that we're running down on very, very, very quickly, which is when you ban abortions, you effectively are putting the life of the cluster of cells that is, convulsing above the life that is carrying it. And that's what happens. An ectopic pregnancy will kill a person. It just will if not treated properly. Does the fetus survive? No, that zygote, that fetus, that thing does not survive. It doesn't even get to fetal stage. You can't actually carry an ectopic pregnancy for very long before you need to be rushed to the emergency room. So he's basically saying, yeah. Both of those lives. It's not just the life of the baby, which, my God, Warren, if we can create some sort of is there a college program in the fallopian tubes? We can send up some professors up the birth canal, man. We have a little, do they want to get married? Is there is there someone else they can get married to? What kind of full life are they gonna live for the weeks before they die and the person who's carrying them dies? What the hell are we talking about here? And yet you're gonna hear this again and again and again. And it is just insane to me. Last thing I'm gonna say, look at the makeup of that room. Look at the person who's explaining ectopic pregnancies to him. I really think, as awful as our shining examples of Republican women like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert are, who are mostly, again, animatronic figurines at this point, just stand-ins to get clicks. Representation matters. Having people who have dealt with pregnancy, with having a child, even just child rearing, with having an abortion, with having an ectopic pregnancy, with having a miscarriage. All that stuff actually matters. A more representative body just matters in elected office.
As you've seen, they also want to punish women who've had miscarriages too.
Well, Louisiana has now introduced a bill that essentially classifies abortion as homicide. And the bill, it allows individuals who terminate pregnancies and those who assist in any way to be charged with murder. Here's what we know. The legislation, which passed through a committee on a 7-2 vote, goes one step further than other anti-abortion bans that have gained momentum in recent years, which focus on punishing abortion providers and others who help facilitate the procedure. Now, Forbes had this to say about Louisiana's bill, which is known as HB 813. The bill fully recognizes the human personhood of an unborn child, starting at the moment of fertilization. And it grants embryos and fetuses the same rights under the law as human beings outside of the womb. What this really means then is that in Louisiana, having, assisting, or performing an abortion would be treated as, once again, homicide, murder. And the state isn't even waiting for that final SCOTUS opinion on Roe v. Wade and whether it and its legacy and progeny will stay on. The legislation would take effect immediately, even if federal abortion rights are still in place and the Supreme Court hasn't overturned Roe v. Wade. As the bill stipulates, it should be enforced without regard to the opinions and judgments of the Supreme Court of the United States and Roe v. Wade, or any other past or future abortion-related rulings, as well as any federal statutes or executive orders. Moreover, what we know is that any state judge who tries to block the law should be impeached or removed, the bill states. And as if this bill really couldn't get any worse, it actually can and does get worse here, because it's not simply limited to traditional notions of abortion because of how it's worded here. Critics pointed out during the hearing Wednesday that the bill could stretch far past abortion and punish those who participate in vitro fertilization, as not all eggs fertilized during IVF may be successful in terms of bringing about a pregnancy, meaning some would be killed as defined by HB 813. It could also potentially be used to punish those who take birth control pills, which prevent fertilization or emergency contraception. Methods like Plan B, attorneys opposed to the bill no.